hot and cold, love and hate, success and failure. What if I told you that these opposites are actually the same thing? We've covered how everything is mental, how patterns repeat themselves, and how everything vibrates. Now we're going to be diving into the most paradoxical principle, the principle of polarity, which states that everything has two poles, and opposites are identical in nature but different in degree. The principle of polarity teaches us that all seemingly opposites are merely two extremes of the same thing. Think of a thermometer. Where exactly does hot and cold begin? You can't find that point because they're simply different degrees of temperature. This applies to everything in our experience. Love and hate are degrees of emotional attachment. Light and dark are degrees of illumination. Success and failure are degrees of achievement. Fear and courage are degrees of emotional response. This understanding shatters the illusion of duality that keeps so many people stuck. When you realize that your greatest challenge is simply the opposite pole of your greatest strength, everything changes. Here's where this principle becomes transformative. Mental transmutation. Just as you slide up and down a thermometer, you can move between any two poles. This means you can transmute depression into joy, fear into courage, scarcity into abundance. That's a big one. Self-doubt into confidence. The key is understanding that you're not creating something new. You're simply moving along an existing scale. This is why the solution to any problem often lies within the problem itself. Think about a public speaking fear, for example. The energy of fear and excitement are virtually identical in the body. It's your mental interpretation that differs. By understanding polarity, you can transmute that nervous energy into a passionate delivery. Let's apply this to breaking through mental barriers. First, identify the limiting state you're experiencing. Let's say it's the fear of failure. Next, recognize its opposite pole. In this case, it's excitement about success. Now understand that these aren't two separate things. They're different expressions of the same energy. The fear of failure contains within it the seed of success. Understanding gives you tremendous power because you're no longer fighting against the negative. You're simply redirecting existing energy and you're working with natural law rather than against it. The energy you've been using to maintain your limitations can be transmuted into fuel for your transformation. So here's some specific techniques for applying polarity. Here's the polarity shift exercise. 1. Identify a challenging situation. 2. Name the current pole you're experiencing. 3. Identify its opposite. 4. Find the common energy between them. And 5. Gradually shift towards the desired pole. The next exercise is, instead of seeing things that are either or, practice seeing both poles simultaneously. This breaks the hypnotic effect of extreme thinking. Now, this one's very important, and it's going back to one of my earlier videos about depolarizing yourself. You have to be able to see everything collectively, as if almost you're standing outside of your body and you're observing yourself from a third-party perspective. So in terms of practical examples in the real world, in business, for example, a setback isn't separate from success. It's part of the same spectrum of growth. In relationships, conflict isn't the opposite of harmony. It's an opportunity for deeper connection. In personal growth, resistance isn't the opposite of acceptance. It's the first step toward it. Here's some advanced applications for this and how you can master this principle. 1. Conscious polarization. Learn to consciously move along any scale. Practice finding the hidden opportunity in every challenge. Use the energy of resistance to fuel progress. 2. The middle way. Develop the ability to center yourself between extremes. Learn to use both poles constructively. Maintain balance while accessing the power of both extremes. And I always stress this, always take the middle path where possible. In a world that's increasingly divided, increasingly polarized, if you find yourself taking the middle path, and understanding both sides simultaneously, there is a huge amount of power that you unlock within yourself. In terms of integration strategies, to integrate this principle, you need to practice seeking the connection between the opposites. Look for opportunity in every single challenge. Use the energy of what you don't want to fuel what you do want. And remember that all extremes contain their opposite. So as we conclude our exploration of the principle of polarity, remember that your greatest challenges contain your greatest opportunities. Every limitation holds within it the seed of its own transcendence. In our next video, we'll explore the principle of rhythm, revealing how everything flows in cycles and how to master these natural patterns.